All right, on to Correctional Services now. The department says John Block was never on the list of those who qualified for parole as he did not meet the stipulated criteria. This follows claims that Minister Lindiwe Sisulu and Reverend Alan Busak were denied access to the prison in Uppington, where former Northern Cape MEC John Block is incarcerated. Block was convicted of corruption and money laundering and sentenced to 15 years by the High Court in Kimberley. Let's get further clarity now from Correctional Services spokesperson Singabakho Nxumalo. Mr. Nxumalo, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA and good morning to you. Just firstly, the claims by the minister that she was denied access, is this a case of the minister not understanding that all members of the public should be treated the same, or is what she's saying true?
A very good morning and thank you for having us. I think it's important to highlight that what happened yesterday was very unfortunate. It's a classical case of, I think, where miscommunication, does find presence and then things just go the wrong way all the way down, because there are regulations that guide our work and they must be applied equally to everyone. And when people are to visit inmates, they have to make a booking that then allocated a date and time. This does assist us in terms of managing traffic and also ensuring that safety is not compromised. And also to avoid a situation where you will have many people arriving a particular day, because that may even pose to be a security threat. As a result, then what happened yesterday, we find it to be very unfortunate, because an appointment would have assisted even clarifying to say which day would be more suitable and the time within which the minister would have been allowed access into our facility, because these are facilities for people and we allow members of the community to visit inmates. But then it has to be done the correct way.
And she has said that she's going to take legal action against the Correctional Services Department. What's your take on that?
That will then assist in terms of further explaining how the entire process works and also where do we draw our policies from, because the Correctional Services does guide us in terms of what is it that we need to take into consideration, what type of policies must be prudent, and how well we ought to work with communities. And also even the case of all people being treated equally and the rights of inmates not being violated. So as a department, it's something that we believe that ought to have been managed differently, as our policies would have assisted, to better clarify and perhaps if there were areas of miscommunication or confusion, so that at no point a member of the public, be it a minister, will feel that he's being treated unfairly.
And talking about John Block himself, is he a suitable candidate for parole at the moment? We just need clarity on that part.
Mr. John Block continues to serve his sentence, and there's been a number of inquiries on Mr. John Block and how come that he was not part of the people who benefited from the special remission of sentences and also the COVID-19 parole dispensation. And we did explain that he did not meet the criteria. And he understood that as well, because everything is done in a transparent way. And he hence is in our facility continuing to serve that particular sentence. And once he has served the minimum required time, he will then be eligible to be considered for parole placement. But at this stage, he does not qualify to be placed on parole. He has not served the minimum required time. Once he has reached that particular point, he will then be taken through that process, just like all other inmates. And it's unfortunate that there was confusion, wrong statements being made. No inmate is being treated. No inmate was removed from the list and replaced with the other. That will be against the law. It's important that we correct such things so that people are not left with the wrong impression as if the laws apply differently to other people.
All right. Well, I guess maybe the minister did get it a bit wrong. I just want to talk to you, Mr. Nxumalo, before I let you go, about the 6 prisoners who are still at large. I know that you've been having numerous meetings as correctional services officials, trying to see exactly what you can do to mitigate this issue. Any leads at the moment as to where you can find the 6 that are still on the loose?
There are leads that we're following, and having one person already being captured, it does give us hope, but we will not rest up until all 7 are back into custody. And the one that we managed to find yesterday, we did explain that he was hit by a truck, and but he is alive. He's under police guard in hospital. The moment that he's stable to travel, we'll then take them back to the Eastern Cape. But as a department, our focus is on the other 6. It's a matter of urgency that we get them back into custody, as we consider them to be extremely dangerous.
And when I spoke to my colleague Ronald Masinda yesterday, who's covering this story for us, he says that the Grahamstown Correctional Facility looks like a very highly, guarded venue or state facility. And he says that he doesn't understand how the 7, now 6, actually managed to escape in the first place. Apparently a window was open. Is Correctional Services probably just investigating whether or not they were assisted by someone inside?
The investigation will assist in terms of bringing to the fore how the 7 managed to put together the entire operation. Yeah. Even the tools that they used, the time invested in it, it's an area of interest to us, because it will then assist even moving forward, and how they managed to cut through those bars, because they're quite hard, strong. They even have mesh inside. It's not something that a person can do it overnight. It may require quite an extended period of time, also depending on the tool that such a person would be utilizing. It's an area that as a department we're looking into it quite closely, and even the manner in which our officials went about testing the strength of that facility, because our procedures are very clear in terms of how often they must test the strength and the tools that they must use, but also if there are certain things which are happening in the correctional center that they're able to detect such. So the investigation must really assist us to this effect, because we wouldn't want anything like this to happen in the future. 7 inmates escaping at the same time, it's not looking good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for speaking to us. We'll obviously be catching up with you during the course of the week, and good luck to finding all 6 that are still at large at the moment. That was Correctional Services spokesperson Singabakho Nxumalo speaking to us there about Minister Lindiwe Sisulu and her complaints around wanting to visit John Block in prison and being barred from doing so, and of course the fact that there are still 6 prisoners who escaped from the Grahamstown Correctional Centre who are still out there